Loyola law professor Jessica Levinson joins us now to help us look back at a busy week, but we do want to start out with a little more on the Jared Kushner situation. What would actually happen if he was using his security clearance and his position in the White House for personal gain?
Well, that would be against all ethical codes that apply to White House employees, and that would be a problem, and obviously, and could lead to losing your job, and or depending on what level of personal gains, could actually lead to some type of punishment. Again, that's a hypothetical at this point. I think the key for people to know is that the career official said, no, we are not comfortable with Jared Kushner having this level of high security clearance, and President Trump overruled them and said, no, I do want him to have it. And again, the levels of security clearance are put in place for our nation's protection to ensure that only those few people who can be trusted have the highest level of clearance.
All right, still a wait to see on that one. We want to move on to North Korea. No deal from the summit. What happened and what happens next?
Well, I think that the honest answer to both questions is we don't know and we don't know. And so what happened is, I think that this is an example of what we didn't see was the routine type of vetting before the summit. So usually you would have a lot of meetings with lower level employees, with kind of the cabinet levels, with other members of both administrations, to try and hammer out deals so that when the leaders come, it really is in a way pro forma, or there's much more structure in terms of what will happen. And we didn't see that kind of background work here. What we saw, I think, is both leaders of North Korea and President Trump saying, we hope we can get into a room and make something happen. And that ultimately didn't work out. You know, for supporters of President Trump, they say, look, we got into a room together and we have the leaders of North Korea saying we're in favor of denuclearization. And for opponents of President Trump, they say you just legitimized him and gave him a national stage, an international stage.
And as the president was leaving the summit, really a PR nightmare when, you know, he let Kim Jong-un off the hook for the death of Otto Warmbier.
Yeah, I would say that's more than a PR nightmare. I mean, it's a true nightmare in the sense that what he later said was, I didn't mean that, it was misinterpreted, it was misconstrued. And I think all you have to do is look back at what President Trump said, and he basically said, I trust Kim Jong-un. And he said this before with respect to, for instance, Vladimir Putin. I trust him above our nation security experts. And so in this case, I think it's obviously disrespectful to the family, but it's disrespectful to all of those who have provided the facts of what happened in that case.
And Michael Cohen spent more than 7 hours in the witness chair this week. Republicans spent almost their entire time reminding people that he lied to just about everyone. Was that a good strategy?
Well, I think it was frankly the best strategy. Now, most people don't go and see the inside of a courtroom. And if you do, if you're in a criminal case, what you see is virtually everyone that testifies has a credibility problem. And so when it comes to Michael Cohen, when it comes to, frankly, many of the other people who've been investigated in the Mueller investigation, Paul Manafort, Flynn, many of these people have huge credibility problems. And the idea is we're not having to take their word for it. They're leading us to evidence that corroborates what they're saying. So I think for Republicans, it was the best tact to try and say, how can we accept anything that he's saying? But if you look at the reality of, again, basically every criminal case in America, we are always having to use the word of a liar to see if it will corroborate evidence of something else. And that's why Michael Cohen came with the receipts. And he said, here's a check. And he was talking about, here's who you should follow up with. Here's the evidence that you might want to look at.
All right. Thank you so much, Jessica. We certainly appreciate your insight.